So I'm thinking, what if we just build a bridge like this, you know, from here to here?
No. This is too basic. This is boring.
What? No, it's the direct route. It's right there.
Yeah. We go around the bridge to feel each moment.
No, this makes no sense.
It will be called the route F50.
Oh no. Flova. I don't want to judge, but feeling each moment for a case slogan is kind of weird. Perhaps whatever this is why we should feel each moment. Alright, so I was genuinely excited to try out the Flova F50 from TRYX. It's their second case product so far, and the hero innovative feature they're trying to introduce in 2026 is something that we first saw in 2004 from Cooler Master Stacker, a crossflow fan on the interior to help guide airflow, because back then front airflow was not a thing because of all the hard drive storage that was occupying that space. We have a lot of restriction, so Cooler Master thought, hey, why don't we add a crossflow fan on the interior to help guide airflow towards your components. That's not necessarily a thing that we should be worrying about now, because most airflow focused enclosures now have a completely open front panel, no restriction whatsoever. So introducing a crossflow fan solution in today's airflow world is a little bit strange. What TRYX is banking on with the crossflow fan solution with the F50 is that it's supposed to deliver a quieter operation, so overall quieter case and system, and also better airflow. But unfortunately, in my experience at least, that's not really true. So with the F50, we have the crossflow fan installed on the side. It's intaking cool air from the side here, and it's supposed to guide it towards your CPU cooler and your GPU. And because of its location closer to the side panel, that airflow is going to hit the top portion of your components, the top of your graphics card and top of your CPU cooler, for example. So from that point of view, I can see the argument of why it's necessary, but also it's a fairly compact mid-tower. So any airflow delivery from the front should not be a restriction because everything is so close together already. Now this fan is going to be compatible for both air-cooled machines and AIO systems as well. By default, we have this angular shroud installed that is going to direct airflow at the angle towards your radiator at the top, but removing it with just 3 screws will give us a more flat and straight airflow delivery towards both your graphics card and your CPU cooler. The 3 fan profiles are easy to reach at the bottom here. I just wish that it was on this side instead, so all you have to do is remove the front panel instead of having to access the interior. It is very unfortunate that this fan is not PWM, so you have to manually control its speed. This thing is also not easily replaceable, and the 2-year case warranty I hope extends further for the crossflow fan, say because, you know, standard 120 and 140mm fans are much easier to replace in case they go kaput. Now generally I really like rail system installation for fans because that gives you the most flexibility in terms of sizes. TRYX give us the option to configure between 120 to 200mm fans, but with the crossflow fan installed in its default orientation, you can only mount 120mm fans at the front, which is absolutely bizarre. And like, I tried mounting 140mm fans here with the crossflow fan installed, and if only they had moved this rail slightly closer to the right side, we would totally have space for 140mm fan mounts. But they didn't really think about that. The mounting holes simply don't align by like 2mm. But I also feel like the entire point of the crossflow fan is so that we don't need to use standard front fans, which is why the front panel is covered in fabric instead of a good dust filter. So aside from the looks and wanting to do something different, I don't really see how the crossflow fan is a better solution versus a standard 2 good fans at the front. Especially if you're running the crossflow fan in eco mode, which is around 1100 RPM. It's very quiet, sure, but then it also doesn't do much in terms of airflow delivery. So it's almost like you need to install front fans anyway if you're running an air-cooled machine, but I would say maybe less necessary with an AIO. The only good dust filtration is at the bottom. We have this fine performance mesh filter that's going to be good for airflow and good for dust, while the top and the side have this generic magnetic filter that is much worse for acoustics and performance too. And even our front panel is very much blocked, not by the fabric, but by the filter that is behind it. I would say strange choices all around with filtration here that are just inconsistent with their whole design philosophy. There are a few redeeming qualities with the F50. First, it comes in pink, that's awesome. And also the fabric implementation here is actually decent from a visual point of view. The case would blend in with your living room situation. Even in the gaming setup, it's kind of nice. I really like the IO placement since this is supposed to be living on your desk anyway with a fast USB-C port. motherboard. The ventilation pattern is consistent throughout, so the bottom, the power supply shroud, the PCIe brackets, and of course the top ventilation. From a point of view of acoustic performance, yes, the crossflow fan is quieter than like a triple stack of 120s at the front, especially because of how blocked that front panel is. Now the interior is all basic, nothing really special around here. They are trying to kind of fit around the mold of trying to please everybody with the side intake, the front intake, BTF motherboard support, some rubber grommets just above the motherboard, nothing on the side, and that's about it. Now this is an annoying problem to have. Our rubber grommet here in the corner is too small to fit the housing of our 8-pin CPU connector. You really gotta force it through for it to go. All right. Why not make it like a millimeter bigger? Unlike the flexible fan rails at the front, the top is just built into the frame. It can support up to 360 radiator or dual 140mm fans here, nothing bigger. My problem here is just how thin this metal is, especially here on this side. I'm not a huge fan of power supply shroud cooling, especially when the power supply is right underneath there, but we do have spot for two 120mm fans with included screws. For our side fans, TRYX says only dual 120s and 140s can fit. Technically, you can still do three 120mm fans, like it fits no problem. You're not going to be interfering with anything at the top anyway. The only thing is that some screw holes are not accessible and you are blocking a little bit of that top fan. And for storage, we have this combo bracket that can support two 3.5 or two 2.5 drives, plus our traditional drive cage underneath here with just a single caddy, but it will support dual 3.5 if you mount one directly on top. As for airflow, I did a bunch of tests and I'm not impressed. At stock configuration, you get middle of the pack performance on the CPU and the GPU. Adding 3 intake fans does nothing because that front panel is completely restrictive. It's basically a wall. Removing that front panel, you can see we're dropping significant temperatures both on the CPU and the GPU. I actually would have loved to see a modular design with a crossflow fan, either positioning it to the top or the bottom or like slightly closer to the GPU depending on your hardware, but it's stuck to the front only, and it already introduces clearance issues for our front fans. Like you cannot do anything larger than 120mm on the front. So I feel like there's just a lot of compromises that come with this patch top solution. Like if this is the future of PC cooling, I think we have a problem. I do appreciate that the shroud is doing exactly what it's meant to do, either directing airflow towards your AIO at the top or just simply pushing air flat across the whole case. And aside from this cross-flow fan integration, there's just nothing really special about this enclosure, both in terms of materials, build quality, interior specifications, and I'm just disappointed that they are trying to target the whole performance and the acoustic category of like trying to target this as being a quiet enclosure, but then delivering such bad airflow implementations from the front panel because of how restrictive both the mesh is and how restrictive the dust filters are on the interior. And I don't understand why we have such a good dust filter at the bottom, which is easily removable from the front, and yet like you're not supposed to be installing fans at the bottom in the first place, and it covers the whole thing. So it almost feels like the frame was designed around one idea and it kind of got formed into trying to push the whole cross-flow fan situation, and it doesn't feel like the case is designed around the cross-flow fan from the beginning. It seems like that was just like an afterthought that was placed inside there, especially because the asking price of $150, that's just way too much for something that isn't so unique and special in the beginning. And you could experiment with different intakes from the side and definitely adding more exhaust from the top, but the basics I feel are not done right. And this being their second case product, I was honestly expecting more. The Lucas 70 delivered some innovative features with modularity, but not so much here. It just seems like a standard mid-tower with a cross-flow fan situation that's been kind of patched into the inside that is not really designed around the fan in the first place. So I would say skip this one, and TRYX, please try harder next time. All right, let me know if you agree. I'm Dmitry. I'll talk to you in the next video.